What if I told you that one of the greatest innovators in history once had no clear direction in life, dropped out of college, slept on friends' floors, and collected soda bottles just to afford food? It sounds unbelievable, but that was the early life of Steve Jobs. Years later, he would stand in front of thousands of students at Stanford University and deliver a speech that inspired millions around the world. Instead of sharing complicated business strategies, he told three simple stories from his life. Stories about curiosity, failure, passion, and trusting your journey even when nothing seems clear. The first story was about connecting the dots. When Steve Jobs first went to college, he quickly realized he had no idea what he wanted to do with his life. His parents had spent their savings on his education, but he felt he was wasting their money on classes that didn't inspire him. Eventually, he dropped out. But dropping out didn't mean he stopped learning. Instead, he followed his curiosity and attended only the classes that interested him. One of those classes was calligraphy, the art of beautiful writing and typography. At the time, it seemed completely useless. There was no obvious career connected to elegant fonts or spacing. But years later, when he helped build the first Macintosh computer at Apple Inc., that class became incredibly important. Because of what he learned in calligraphy, the Macintosh became the first computer with beautiful typography and multiple fonts. Today, every computer and smartphone uses typography inspired by that idea. Looking back, Steve Jobs realized that the dots of life only connect later. You cannot connect them looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. The second story he shared was about love and loss. By the time he turned 30, the company he started had grown into a billion-dollar business. But then something shocking happened. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he created. For a while, he felt lost and embarrassed. But after the disappointment passed, he realized something important. He still loved what he did. That passion pushed him to start again. He created a new company called Next and invested in a small animation studio called Pixar. At the time, computer-animated movies seemed impossible. But Pixar proved everyone wrong when it released Toy Story, the first fully computer-animated feature film. The movie became a huge success and changed the animation industry forever. Meanwhile, the technology developed at Next later became extremely valuable, and eventually Apple bought the company, bringing Steve Jobs back to the place he had once been forced to leave. Looking back, he realized that being fired from Apple was actually one of the best things that ever happened to him, because it allowed him to rediscover his creativity and start fresh. From that experience, he shared an important lesson. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick, but you must not lose faith. The only thing that keeps you going during difficult times is loving what you do. If you haven't found what you truly love yet, keep searching and don't settle. The final story he shared was about death. Steve Jobs believed that remembering our time is limited can be one of the most powerful tools in life. When you realize that life is short, many fears disappear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, and fear of what others think. Instead of living according to other people's expectations, you start focusing on what truly matters. Every morning, he asked himself a simple question. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? If the answer was no for too many days in a row, he knew something needed to change. This mindset helped him stay focused on meaningful work and bold ideas. At the end of his speech, Steve Jobs shared a message that later became famous around the world. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Staying hungry means always remaining curious and never being satisfied with average results.
Staying foolish means having the courage to try ideas that others might consider impossible. The story of Steve Jobs reminds us that success is rarely a straight path. Sometimes the experiences that seem pointless today become the most valuable parts of your future. Sometimes failure opens the door to new opportunities. And sometimes the ideas that people doubt the most are the ones that change the world. So wherever you are in your journey, remember these lessons. Trust that the dots will connect. Follow the work you truly love, and never forget that your time is limited, so use it to build something meaningful and pursue the ideas that truly matter.